is Sophia and I will discuss the Module 2 of Mathematics Core. So, if naiintindihan niyo yung Module 1, I'm sure na maiintindihan niyo rin to since ito yung pagtutuloy ng Module 1. So, let's start para matapos tayo kaagad. So, first topic is the one-sided limit. So, tinatawag yung limit na one-sided kapag ini-evaluate yung limit niya from one side, so it is the left and the right. So, kaya nga tinawag siyang one-sided kasi one-sided lang i-evaluate mo. Hindi yung romance part. Sa math part tayo. So, this is the warm-up for you and please find the following limits. So, yun. I hope na masagutan nyo na walang kahirap-hirap yung 1 to 3. If may tanong man kayo kung paano sagutin to, you can contact me into our Google Classroom or to my email. Next is, paano natin hahanapin yung one-sided limit? So, meron tayong example here. So, given that f of x is equals to 3 when x is less than or equal to negative 3, and f of x is equals to x minus 6 when x is greater than to negative 3. So, this function is called the piecewise function. So, let's evaluate the letter A, the limit of f of x as x approaches to negative 3 from the left, and limit of f of x as x approaches to negative 3 from the right. So from the left is negative and from the right is positive. So let's find the solution. So ito na yung sinasabi kong from the left and from the right. So masasabi niyo na from the left, ang isang limit kapag negative, yan. And from the right is positive. So letter A. Since the limit nun is from the left, we will use the constraint x is less than or equal to negative 3. So, yun yung negative infinity to negative 3. So, we have the limit of f of x as x approaches to negative 3 from the left is equals to 3. Kasi, ayan yan. Kaya, 3 yung sagot. Next, letter B naman. So, yung letter B, it is from the right. So, we will use the constraint x is greater than to negative 3. Ano yan? Infinity to negative 3 naman yan. So, we have the limit of f of x as x approaches to negative 3 from the right is equals to negative 3 minus 6 is equals to negative 9. So, eto yan. Etong function yan. Negative 3 from the right. So, negative 9 yung sagot. Next slide. So, another example na naman. Given that h of x, is equals to 2x plus 3 when x is less than or equal to negative 1. H of x is equals to x squared when x is greater than to negative 1 but less than 3. And h of x is equal to 4x minus 3 as x is greater than or equal to 3. So let's evaluate letter A. Limit of h of x as x approaches 3 from the right, positive. And letter B, limit of h of x as approaches negative 1 from the left, negative. So, right, positive, left, negative. Yun lang yung alalahanin sa one-sided limit. So, letter A, since we're looking from the limit of h of x as x it approaches 3 from the right, so anong kukonsider natin constraint? Since from the right, ito yung kukonsider natin constraint. yung x is greater than or equal to 3. Gagamitin natin tong equation nun para mahanap yung limit na yun. So, 4 multiplied to 3 minus 3 is equal to 9. So, yun yung sagot sa limit of h of x as x approaches 3 from the right. Next slide. So, letter B naman tayo. Since we're looking dun sa from the left, we consider the constraint x is less than or equal to negative 1. So, ito yung function, equation na gagamitin natin. So, we get 2 multiplied to negative 1 plus 3 is equals to 1. So, yun yung sagot dito. Yan, positive. Error lang, and negative yan. So, yan. Ayan yung answer. Next slide. So, after we discuss on how to find the one-sided limits, please try this problem. And I hope na hindi kayo mahirapan sa problem ito kasi it is a pretty easy problem. So, ayan. So, next topic naman tayo from this module. Next is the continuity. Dito pa ba yung right ko? So, continuity, it describes the graph of the function if may broken part pa siya or continuous siya in a given number or interval. So, f of a is equals the limit of f of x as x approaches to a from the left is equal to limit of f of x as x approaches a from the right. So, makikita nyo na yung both sides ng limit is equals and yung function din is equal dun sa dalawang yan. So, para mas visualize natin, next slide. So before the examples, there's different types of discontinuities. So una is the jump discontinuity. So malalaman natin na yung isang function ay ganito kapag yung limit or yung both side ng limit ay unequal and finite. So alalahanin nyo lang yung unequal and finite na word. Next is the point discontinuity. So, ito naman, yung two-sided ng limits ay nag-e-exist or equal, pero hindi equal sa ito sa function value. So, yun na yung alalahanin nyo sa point discontinuity. So, when the limit of both sides as it approaches a given input are equal. So, given input are equal, but the actual value of the function is not equal. Yan. Tapos, next is the infinite discontinuity. From the word infinite, papasok yan yung infinite na symbol. So, ito yung limit ng function when yung right or left or both ay nag-approach positive or negative infinity. So, kahit ano mangyari, hindi sila magkikita. Kasi, ano sila, ganito yun minsan eh. Yung paganyan, tapos may paganon, pataas, pababa, tapos di sila magkikita, ganon. Next is the removable discontinuity. So, ito naman, yung both sides ng limit ay equal, pero walang defined value for the function at a given point. So, tinatawag tong hole sa graph. So, may hole sa graph pag removal discontinuity. So, remember these four types of discontinuities: jump discontinuity, point discontinuity, infinite discontinuity, and removal discontinuity. So, ito yung example. So, identify if h of x is equals to x minus 3 when x is less than or equal to negative 1, and h of x is equal to 6x plus 2 when x is greater than to negative 1 is a continuous function of x is equal to negative 1. If discontinuous, identify the discontinuity. So this is the solution for that problem. So ipoprove lang natin or that alamin na natin kung continuous or discontinuous. So the limit of h of x as x approaches negative 1 from the left, the constraint of it is x minus 3. So equals to negative 1 minus 3 is equals to negative 4. Alalahan niyo palagi yung mga final answer. So from the right naman, gagamitin natin yung 6x plus 2. So 6 multiplied to negative 1 plus 2 is equals to negative 4. So same na. Pero di pa dyan natatapos. Kasi pag kunwari, hindi siya naging same sa isang part, hindi siya continuous. Lastly, h of negative 1 is equals to negative 1 minus 3 is equals to negative 4. So, correct pa din. So, same na sila. So, since h of negative 1 is equals to the limit of h of x as x approaches negative 1 from the left is equals to the limit of h of x as x approaches negative 1 from the right. So, mag-i-equal sila. H is continuous at x is equals to negative 1. So, continuous siya. Ayun yung final answer. Next slide. Identify if f of x is equals to x squared minus 10 when x is less than or equal to 2. F of x is equals to 3x minus 5 as x is greater than to 2 but less than to 5. F of x is equals to 4x plus 1 as x is greater than or equal to 5. It's a continuous function if x is equal to 2. If discontinuous, identify the discontinuity. So, yung solution dito is, unahin natin yung from the left and from the right. So, limit of f of x as x approaches to 2 from the left is equals to 2 squared minus 10. Ginamit natin yung x squared minus 10 is equals to negative 6. Next is limit of f of x as x approaches to 2 from the right is equals to 3 multiplied to 2 minus 5. Ginamit natin yung 3x minus 5 is equals to 1. So, ito yung sinasabi ko na kapag hindi na sila nagparehas, titigil na tayo. So, hindi sila parehas. So, ang conclusion natin is since h of 2 is equals to the limit of f of x as x approaches to 2 from the left is not equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches 2 from the right, h is discontinuous. Specifically, the function has a jump discontinuity. So, yan yung sinasabi kong unequal sila. Kaya jump discontinuity. Next slide. So, identify if f of x is equals to x when x is less than or equal to 1. F of x is equal to 7 over x minus 1 when x is greater than to 1 but less than 3. And f of x is equals to x plus 3 when x is greater than or equal to 3. Is a continuous function at x is equals to 1. If discontinuous, identify the discontinuity. So the solution of this, a solution for that problem, is the limit of f of x as x approaches to 1 from the left is equals to 1. So, ito yung x. And the limit of f of x as x approaches 1 from the right is equals to 7 over 0 from the right. So, yan yung 7 over x minus 1. So, 1 minus 1 is 0. Is equals to the infinity. So, sila parehas. Both may infinity na symbol. So, alam na natin kung ano yung discontinuity na yan. So, since f of 1 is equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches 1 from the left is not equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches 1 from the right, h is discontinuous. Specifically, the function has an infinite discontinuity. So infinite discontinuities is my infinite na symbol. So this is your exercise before nyo kunin yung quiz. So determine the limit of the following function if it exists. So this is number 1. Next, this is number 2. Next part naman ng exercise nyo is determine if each function is a continuous at a given value of x. If discontinuous, identify the discontinuity. So this is number 1. This is number 2. And this is number 3. And lastly, this is number 4. So that is the scope of Module 2. I hope na na-understand niyo yung lesson. And if may hindi kayo maintindihan, please don't hesitate to approach us, your instructors, since ina-accommodate naman namin lahat ng mga questions niyo. Ayun. Thank you and have a nice day.